Ate G, good afternoon po sa inyong lahat. Good afternoon, good afternoon. Ate G, Mix Black, thank you po sa pagdala. Good afternoon po. Good afternoon. Bakit nakaset reminder ang aking ang aking live? First honor sa Tamsak Sisiko. Oo nga po first honor. First honor talaga. Pero bakit nakalagay dito may set reminder sa aking isang phone? Kaloka, schedule 2:16 p.m. Hindi ko naman nilagay. Naka siya, naka-set reminder. Ano ba yan? Bakit? Good afternoon mga palanggay. Happy New Year! Ilang days na lang, New Year na. Kaloka itong ko Oh, sis to, dalawang tulog na lang. Oo nga po dalawang tulog na lang. Ay nako, hindi pa rin ako tumatangkad. Wala nang pag-asa tumangkad. Wala na talaga pag-asa tumangkad si Juvenile. Wala na talaga. First honor si Ate G, kaya ayan, nandyan siya sa, ilagay kita sa taas dahil bansot din ako sis, host talaga. For 11 lang po ako. Ay nako. For 11 lang si Lola. Ay nako. Pasko na naman. Sana sinta ko. Mamayang gabi na itong premiere mo sis ito. Ate J. Ilang taon na kaya hindi ko kapiling ang mga anak ko tuwing Christmas at saka Happy New Year. Di bali sis at hindi ka mataba ako bansot na maba pwede nang litsa. Ayan, laki kaya ng tiyan ko. Mataba din ako, laki ng tiyan ko. Yun ang problema ko, tiyan ko ang problema Ay nako. Kaya sabi na anak kong bunso, kailan kaya kami magkakasama ni mama? Nainggit kasi siya sa mga kapatid ko, ipon-ipon sila. Bakit kaya nakaset reminder yung isa kong dito phone? Hindi naman siya nakaset reminder. Saang bansa kasi? Singapore po ako. Ate G. Hindi pa kaya ano yung anak ko bunso iniwan ko siya ano magwa 1 year pa lang. Okay. Andyan din si admin ko, Lucina Tadja. Saan kaya dito sa ano, Ate J? Saan dito sa Singapore? Ilang taon na siya ngayon? 19 years old na siya ngayon. Kaya nga nung nagdibo siya, di nakaplano na lahat kasi gusto niya mag 18 roses siya. Yan, bumili na ako ng gown niya, tapos yung crown, bumili na rin ako. Handa, ano na talaga, yung ano na lang, pagdating ko na lang talaga. Ngayon, biglang, ano, umipal si pandemic. Hindi ako nakauwi. Sabi ko, ipagpatuloy nyo na lang. Sabi ko gano'n. Ayaw nila. Sabi niya, ayoko sabi niya mag-birthday hanggat sabi niya, thank you, Hogu. Hanggat sabi niya, hanggat wala ka dito, yun ang sabi ng anak ko. Kaya, ayun, hindi siya agoy, 18 years na tagal na sis. Oo, nakakalungkot sis. Oo nga, nakakalungkot. Yan yung ang pangarap ng anak ko na sana makapiling nila ako Pasko. Tsaka New Year. Balak ko sana surprise sa kanila yung pag-uwi ko hindi. Wala pa rin. Hindi pa rin pwede na umuwi. Kaya dito na ano na ako dito. Na natali. Dalagang dalaga na talaga yung anak ko. Nag-iisang lang siya, nag-iisang babae. Daming na perwisyo ang kubidang yan. Starry right, grabe. Ay, talaga sinabi mo pa. Ate J, taga Bicol ka ba? Taga saan ka, Ate J? Daming na perwisyo ang kubidang yan. Starry right talaga. Taga Isabela sis. Oh. Ako taga Northern Samar, pero nag-stay kami sa sa Legazpi. Legazpi City. Kasi nandyan yung mga anak ko pero nasa Muntinlupa pa ako. Kasi dyan nag-aaral yung mga anak ko sa Legazpi. Kaya binilhan ko sila ng kubo-kubo kasi nag-rent dati ako ay grabe. Mahal ng rent every month. Kaya sabi ko, bumili na lang ako kahit kubo-kubo lang kaysa mangupahan. Kaya yun. Manugang ko Bicolano, taga Isla Rapu-Rapu. Ganun ba? Kumusta na? Naalala ko yung Rapu-Rapu kasi ang sabi-sabi kasi sa Rapu-Rapu mga aswang daw. Isla yan ng tabako, yung Rapu-Rapu. Isla siya. Pero hindi pa ako nakapunta dyan sa Rapu-Rapu. Motorboat ang sinasakyan dyan eh. 3 million in the house. Ayun. Hinabol ko yung oras kasi sabi ko mamaya, uutusan na naman ako dito sa matanda. Uutusan naman ako kaya yan, unahan ko na mag-live na ako. Kasi baka next week, hindi na naman ako makapag-live kasi ang ingay dito sa kalsada namin. Dahil ginagawa yung kalsada. Kaya ngayon, walang trabaho sila, yung mga workers. Kaya ito, hindi pa ako Ilocana. Ano ito? Pangalan ng ano, yan ang ano, ang tawag dito sa matanda. Account kasi yan na matanda eh. Ginamit ko yung phone niya para may mag-support sa akin. Yan. Ano kasi yan eh. Ang pronunciation nila kasi sa G ay key. Kaya ang ano yan, dapat kung. Yan. Yan ang tawag nila. Kumbaga ay grandfather. Ganun. Wow, nice sis. Akong pa. Oh, yan. Yung isang phone niya, ito. Ano yan? Pero hindi na ito niya ginagamit. Bali, dalawa ang phone niya dito sa akin. Ano? Nakakatawa. Sa sobrang sa kaka-play ko, piniplay ko kasi yung sarili ko. Tamsak lang si Juvenile, busy pa mo. Thank you, Baby Boss Summer. Talaga naman si Baby Boss Summer, kahit busy siya, oh. Sorry, Baby Boss Summer, hindi ako kagabi, naka-attend sa ano mo. Kasi alam mo kung bakit? Di ba nag-live ako kahapon? Tapos, yung ano ko ba naman, naka-limited. Kaya ang ginawa ko talaga yun, hindi ko tinigilan hanggat nag-request ako. Hanggat hindi siya, ano, na okay. Kaya ayun, ngayon okay na siya. Talaga hindi ko talaga tinigilan. Sabi ko bakit nag-ano siya, napunta sa ano, unlisted. Sabi ko hindi naman unlisted ang inano ko. Wala ako live kagabi. O ganun ho ba? Ay. Sabi ko wala, hindi ako naka-attend. Tsaka kay Sis Linley. Wala ako live kagabi, Sisi. Busy din, need mo request yun, Sisi. Oo nga, panay nga ang request ko. The 4G official, thank you po sa pagdalaw. Pahiram Tamsak Road to 1K. Ayun. Thank you, the 4G. Present, sabi niya. Present daw siya. Wala pala si Baby Boo Summer kagabi. Okay, puntahan ko yung bahay mo, the 4G. Road to 1K. Kaso lang ano, tawag nun, wala akong 696. Kumbaga wala akong ibang mga names. Wala akong mga galamay. Iisa lang ang galamay ko, yung pangalan, yung anak kong, account ng anak ko, yung ginawa ko. Kailan? Kailan po yun? James GPGP, thumbs up. Okay, thank you, James GPGP. Sa iyong for coming, thank you. Okay, the 4G. The 4G. The 4G official. Yan, natamsakan na kita, the 4G. Okay, James GP. I'm okay. I'm watching your video, GP. 4 million in the house. Ayan, guys. Wala yatang harang itong aking ano. GP. Check ko nga. Thank you, Ate G. Kagno, BG Dai. Thank you, Kagno, Sisi Dai. Dobling Sisi, tsaka Dai. Ayan, thank you for coming, Sisi ko. Okay, James GP. Huwag na tayo magtugtog. Nakaka-copyright ako. Wala pa rin kaming tubig, sis. Dami kong labahin, banlawin, dami. Naapektuhan kayo dyan sa ano nung nakarang bagyo? Ay, grabe. Ang hirap pag walang tubig. Di bali walang ilaw. Basta ang tubig ang importante. Oh my goodness. Di bali walang ilaw. Tingnan ko nga ito. Baka hindi naka-on yung aking ano. Harang. I want to check, guys. Bakit wala? Kung magkaroon naman ng tubig sa gabi, kulay brown naman, sakit sa bangs. Ay, naku, talagang sakit sa bangs talaga yan, Ate G. Kasi yung mga ano yata, yung mga baha yan, di ba, Ate G? Yung mga ano, kaya nagkulay brown. Ay, naku, hirap talaga yan. Hala, ingat kay Ate G, kasi di ba pag pagkatapos ng bagyo, dyan na naman nagkaroon ng mga kung ano-anong naramdaman natin. Andyan nagtatay, ganun. Ay naku, Diyos ko. Magpakulo kayo ng tubig, Ate G, ng inuman nyo. Oo nga, naka-off nga yung aking ano. Ayan. Hindi ko pala naasikaso. Bakit? Bakit ba? Hindi ko na on yung harang ng aking yan. Save. Okay. Ngayon, bakit yung ano ko hindi nakaano? Thank you si Day. Thank you Kagyo sa pabiji. Day Kagyo, thank you sa pabiji-biji. Oo, uso ngayon ang diarrhea. O ganyan talaga yan ang kapalit ng ano, pag bumaha, pag halimbawa bagyo, ganyan talaga ang kapalit yung diarrhea talaga. Ayan, trangkaso, yan. Kaya laga ang ano, ang inuman nyo ate G, ilaga nyo. Dito nga sa Singapore, nilaga lagi ang tubig namin eh. Kaya pag uwi ko, nasanay na rin nilagang tubig. Lang din dito, grabe, uulan. Ayan, pag umuulan dito, ganito ang sitwasyon dito sa Singapore. Halimbawa, maulan, tapos ang lakas ng hangin, sigurado may low pressure sa atin, sa Pinas. Dito sa Singapore, hindi binabagyo, tsaka walang lindol, yun. Kaya yun lang ang ano dito. Nakakatakot dito pag once na maglindol, ang tataas ng mga building. Isang shake lang ay nako, tapos na. Sino kaya itong ano, na ano nyo ba ito, itong mga pumapasok na ano? Hindi ko alam kung, hindi naman naintindihan yung ano nila kasi hindi naman sila nag-ano. Kaya pag ano yan, inaano ko sila, hinahide ko. Noon, nag-search ako, hindi ko naman sila na ano, hindi ko alam kung anong klase yan, yung mga pumapasok. Kahit sa premiere ko, pumapasok din yan. Lagi yan nakabuntot. Sara ko muna yung mga bintana, guys. Buti naman natulog ang aking alaga. Kasi minsan maghapon, pagkagising ng alas 7, naglaro na yan sa cellphone niya. Titigil lang yan pag ang cellphone niya ay na ano, na lubat. Pag nalubat naman yung tablet niya, doon naman siya sa isang cellphone niya. Yun lang ang ginagawa niya. Pero mas okay na yun na ano yung isip niya doon. Kasi pag hindi siya naglaro, hindi siya natutulog, kung ano-anong iniisip niya. Hanggang sa tumaas ang pag nasobran siyang sa kakaisip. Naisip niya kasi hindi siya dinadalaw na mga anak niya, naitawag man lang, ngayon pandemic, hindi man lang siya kinumusta na kumusta ka na dyan, okay ka ba, ganyan ganyan, wala man lang. Kaya sabi niya mabuti daw at nandito ako. Paano na kaya daw siya? Yun ang sabi. Kaya sabi ko sa kanya, kaya magpakabait ka, dahil pag hindi ka mabait, walang magtsatsaga sa'yo. Sabi ko. 4 million in the house. Kaloka itong ano ah. Bakit ganito? Nakaset reminder. Alas 4. Alas 4 ang ano niya, nakaset reminder. Hindi naman. Hindi naman siya nakaset reminder. Ano ka, hilo? Bakit? Andito nga na ano na eh. Naka-live na nga. Pero bakit nakaset reminder siya? Hindi naman ako nag-set reminder. Punta ko ano. Kaloka, bakit? Content. Live. Edit YouTube. Choose. Naka ano naman eh, naka-public naman eh. Yeah. Harang po. Thank you, Muse ng Lebanon. Thank you very much. Mega love shout out po sa everyone. Mega love shout out everyone, sabi ni Muse ng Lebanon. Thank you po. Thank you very much. Ano itong nakasit reminder? Wala naman akong nakasit reminder. Ano ba yan? Ba't nakalagay? Hindi ko naman sinit ito. Wala naman akong nakasit. Okay ka lang? Ate G, dikit kalimbang na rin dito, sabi ni Muse ng Lebanon. Oo naman, host, pwede baba premiere po? Okay, okay, baba mo. Bakit kaya ganito? Hindi naman ako nag-sit. Kaloka talaga. Salamat, Ginny B. Sabi ni Ate G. Kaloka ah. Hindi ako nag-sit. Pero bakit nandito nakasit? Nakaloka, kaloka. Hindi naman nag-ano. Despite. Basta. Yan, okay na siya. Tingnan mo, wala tuloy akong ano. Sana hindi ko na lang pinakialaman. BG lang, Tihos. Okay, okay. Thank you sa pa-BG. Ingat. Muse ng Lebanon. Ano nangyari dito? Bakit hindi nila susunod? Kaloka itong ano ko. Thank you, Dai. Kagyo. Inayos ko lang. Sorry, Dai, guys. Inayos ko lang itong ano ko. Bakit ano? Itong live ko. Hindi naman ako nagsisit remind. Hindi naman ito nakaset na ano. Direct ito eh. Ano ito? Bahala na. $3 million in the house, mga palangga. You will be notified when it goes live. Okay. Okay guys, sana tayo. $3 million in the house. Naharang ako sa sarili ko. $2 million in the house. Good afternoon guys. Sabi ng kapatid ng nanay ko, sabi niya, in-invite niya ako doon sa para daw pag kalimbang ng 12 midnight, papaluin daw niya ako. Hello ma'am host Tusok. Thank you Elvis Vlog TV. Thank you very much sa pagdalaw. Thank you Elvis. Kasi daw pag talagang pagkalimbang ng alas 12 ng midnight, tumalon daw ako ng 3 beses at papaluin daw ako ng 3 beses din sa puwet. Para daw ako itumangkad. Kasi daw yung nanay ko, hindi daw ako pinapalo. kaya pandak daw ako. yan daw kasabi. Welcome ma'am. Thank you Elvis. Thank you very much. You're welcome. Ganun ba yun? Papaluin pag New Year? Para tumangkad. Bakit naman yung mga anak ko, hindi ko naman pinapalo? Bakit ang tatangkad nila? Ganyan lang siguro. Napag-iwanan ng panahon. Kaya hindi tumangkad. Kumbaga ay latak na lang ang natira sa akin. Kaya bunso kasi ako eh. Nakabiji lang ako ma'am host here po sa work ma'am. Okay lang. Walang problema Elvis. Mag-ingat ka dyan sa work mo. Mag-ingat-ingat. Thank you sa pabiji. Ingat lagi. Ingat tayo sa ating mga sarili, saan man tayo magpunta. Ingat palagi. Tingnan mo yung best friend ko. Nilibing siya kanina umaga. Bigla lang. teacher siya. Bigla siyang nawala. Carjack. Yun ang ano niya. Thanks, ma'am. Kayo din po. Ingat lagi, ma'am. Okay, you're welcome. You're welcome, AG, Elvis. Kasi hindi natin alam ang ating buhay. Kaya ingat tayo palagi. Pero kahit anong ingat natin, kung talagang end na natin, di ba? Ingat pa rin tayo. Mahirap. Nandyan o yung yung bahay ni Ate G, nandyan sa nakapin sa taas. Baka hindi pa kayo kay Ate G. Nakadikit or tamsak. Tingnan mo, ang kulimlim, hindi naman natuloy ang ulan. Makulimlim, init. Elvis Yaho, sabi ni Ate G. Yaho, Elvis. Sabi ni Ate G. Elvis Black, Dave, thank you sa pa-BG. Kasal kasi ngayon ni Rihin na eh. Busy siya kagabi. Huwag kang mag-ikot, palangga. Huwag kang mag-iikot. Ako ba yung nakaano? Kaya natin dyan. Umiikot. Tulog ang aking anak. Bakit ba umiikot ang aking sumelian in harang. Itaas ko yung umiikot siya. Bakit? Ikot ko muna. Walang signal. Mahina ang signal. Bakit? Yan. Yan lang pala. Gusto niya itaas. Hi. 4 million in the house. Ayan. Ayan yung sinasabi ni ano, ni Sir ano, Sir Tiger. Yung electric pan lang daw niyang nakikita tuwing ako'y nagla-live. Kasi pag natutulog ako, ibinubuhay ko lang yung electric pan nakaharap dito. Kaya yun lang nakikita niya, yun lang daw ang kausap niya. Kasi nakapwesto ako dito eh. Ano to, itong pwesto ko, ano ito, stock room. Kasi dapat, sabi ko, mali ang pagkagawa. Dapat, stock room doon, ito ang kwarto ko. Kaya, tingnan mo, yung kwarto ko, wala tuloy hangin. Walang pumapasok. Kasi, yung bintana, ito tuloy ang ano, sa may bintana, ito tuloy ang ginawang stock room. Ngayon, sabi ng alaga ko, o sige, dito ka po pwesto. Sabi niya. Kasi may lamisa dito eh. Yung lagayan sana na ano, wifi. Hindi naman natuloy. Yung wifi. Daikag nyo, thank you sa pabiji. Daikag nyo. Muse ng Lebanon. Thank you, Muse ng Lebanon. Thank you sa pabiji. Kaya yan tuloy, pag wala akong electric pan, grabe ang init sa aking kwarto. Kasi, nakaharang yung ano, naharangan yung bintana. Hair lang po, ti. Thank you, Muse ng Lebanon. Thank you, Jenny B. Thank you talaga. Premiere, okay. Nagtaka ako, sabi ko, bakit hindi pa tayo dikit? Yung pala, ang gamit ko yung ano, yung, you're welcome po, may bisita dito, di tuloy ako makatulog. Ito, patamsak ko sa iyo yung anak ko. Wow, ang ganda naman na ano, ng dress mo. Muse ng Lebanon. Good afternoon sa lahat. Thank you, Jocelyn, sa pagdalaw. Thank you. May mga bagong video ka, yung mga video mo na hindi pa natamsakan, ibaba mo, Jocelyn, para maano natin. Para matamsakan. Ito, i-ano kita, ano ko, sa ano ko, yung, yung sa akin. Kanina kasi yung nag-ano sa'yo, yung nagdikit ay yung anak ko yun. Ginawaan ko, yan, nagbaba ko, Jocelyn. Steady ka lang. Ayan, mag-ano ka dyan, yung si Muse ng Lebanon, nagbaba siya ng premiere niya, anuan mo yan, dikitan mo yan, para balikan ka niya. Tsaka yung nakapin sa taas, si Ate G, balikan ka nila. Dito pa ako sa harang, nakaharang pa ako. Okay. Tsaka yung si Juvenile 2 channel, dikitan mo rin. Okay, Genevieve, nandito ako sa bahay mo. Hindi na kita naririnig sis, ingay ng karpintero dito. kaya nga, kaya nga sa bahan next week, ang, yung dito, ang ingay, yung kalsada rin. Yes na. Tamsakdan. Ayan, tamsakdan na ako. Ngayon, si Jocelyn, pupuntahan kita, Jocelyn. Ayan, Jocelyn. Ay, yung walang ibang video. Natamsakan na kita nito eh. Jocelyn. Ba't naka-off yung mo, yung comments mo? Ay, ito pala yung noon, hindi ko nabuksan. Yung hindi ko nabuksan. Dapat naka-on yung yung comments. Yung comments mo, yung notification. Nakabiji ako dito, sis, pero di kita naririnig, pukpukan dito. Okay lang, Ate J. Pukpukan talaga. Wala ka naman bata dyan sa ano, wala ka naman bata dyan sa bahay nyo, sa mga videos mo. Dapat naka ano, naka on yung ano mo, Jocelyn, yung notification mo. Naka off kasi, nakalimutan ko din i-on nung nandito ka sa bahay. Ayan o, nandito ako sa bahay mo. Gamit ko yung account ng anak ko. Wow, maliligo yung ano. May pa-toothbrush pa. Buti hindi nagre-reklamo ano. Dan support James GP. Thank you, Jocelyn. GP there. 5 million in the house. Hi, Fuji. Nalilito, Fuji. Okay. Subscribe kita kay ano. Dito sa ano. Balikan mo na lang yung sa anak ko. Kaso lang naka-off yung ano mo, yung notification. Bango na ni Fuji. Full pack dan. Yan. 4 million in the house. AD Peter. AD Peter. Message deleted by. Muse ng Lebanon. Thank you. Thank you sa pabiji. Dan Juvenile to Child. Thank you. Thank you, Jocelyn. Ayan si si Muse ng Lebanon. Dikitan mo rin yan para dikitan ka rin niya. Muse ng Lebanon, ayan kaibigan ko yan si Jocelyn. Kapitbahay ko siya. Maliit pa ang bahay niya. Kaya, ₱23 pa lang yung subscribers niya. Kasi, malaki-laki na sana yan. Kaso, nakain. Kinakain niya kasi napabayaan niya kasi hindi siya marunong magbaba. Tapos hindi rin siya marunong siya magbaba kaso lang yung kumbaga pag pag magdikit hindi pa niya alam. Basta dikit lang siya ng dikit. Sabi ko, panoorin mo muna yung video bago ka magdikit para hindi ka mabawasan. Sabi ko. Daikag nyo, thank you sa pabiji. Thank you, daikag nyo. Ano kaya ang handa sa New Year? $4 million in the house. Tabuan Explorer. Hi, Tabuan. Tabuan Explorer. Tingnan ko ang bahay. Dito ako sa mo. Ayan. Dito ako sa house mo. Jocelyn, ayan may nagbaba ng bagong Dikitan mo siya si Tabuan, Jocelyn, para balikan ka rin. Nandito ako sa bahay mo, Tabuan. Annalyn Galendez. Okay, sandali lang guys. Annalyn Galendez. Bigyan kita ng jacket. Annalyn. Okay. May jacket ka na, Annalyn. Thank you, Annalyn, sa pagdalaw. Tabuan. Thank you, Annalyn. Kitabuan. Tabuan. Explorer. Explorer. Tamsakdan. Ayan. Tamsakdan, sabi ng aking okay. Kaya Annalyn, nandito ako sa bahay mo. Okay. Daikanyo, thank you. Thank you sa pabiji. $4 million in the house. Dai, super thanks din. BJ Rako kay sahay wala ko sa trono. Okay lang, dakag nyo. Thank you very much sa pabiji. Dating, Annalyn, dating dikit pala tayo, dating dikit, tsaka ito tatamsakan na lang kita ha. Renard Corey. Renard. $5 million in the house. Okay. Hindi ko alam yan. Sorry guys, Reynard Corey, I don't know you. Kasi hindi naman kasi sila kumikibo. Kaya yan. Kaya nakatakot sila anuhin. Baka mamaya hindi natin alam yan. Baka mamaya mahack yung ano natin, yung account natin. Kasi one time kasi, sinerch ko yung ano nila, wala akong makita sa mga ano nila. Kasi pumasok yan kahit sa premiere ko, pumasok kaya yan. Yung mga ganyan. Kaya hindi mo maintindihan yung mga account nila o ano yan. Kaya mas mabuti pa, i-hide mo na lang, di ba? May tatanong pala ako, pwede ba ano, yung premiere kahit 29 minutes, pwede ba yun? Pwede ba ano, i-premiere yun? Naharang ako sa sarili ko, ang haba ng harang. Ano oras ako nag-start? 1:30, 2, 2:31, 3:30, 2 o'clock. Four million in the house. 4 million in the house, guys. Thank you very much. Thank you, thank you. Malapit sa tayo sa ano. Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday. Itong Sunday. So, ngayong January is 5, 12 ang makatanggap. Ang tagal. Secondary. Huwag kang umikot palangga. Umikot na naman ang aking phone. Okay naman sana. Full naman ang pinagdikitan mo. Sandali lang guys ha. Punta ako ng ng Okay guys, I'm back. Naggawa lang ako ng ano niya, ng kanyang merendalan. Ay, ang sarap ng upo ko. Ang sarap ng upo ko. Di ba? Tawag ka ni akong lakas ng ulan, pero may araw kaya. May araw. $5 million in the house. Oh, ngayon 3 pala. 3 million. $4 million in the house. Why sa payanday?
Wisdom-based education outlook is that you start to develop an education system that contribute to human progress. Hello and welcome to the Game Changers She Talks, brought to you by leading and innovative ideas that they care about, creating a positive ripple effect. Today, we shine the spotlight on Goal 4, quality education, health tech industry's development, with more educators and students embracing digital learning. In a similar vein, as our society advances towards a more technologically advanced lifestyle that's primed for a gender-equal future, education model that is affordable, accessible, and progressive. We'll just today about the future of education since a very tender young age of 16. Tell us how you got into the education.
Full support Ate J, mixed blood.
So I was
Sabi
very
ni
fortunate in
Jocelyn.
high school to have been exposed to entrepreneurship and education entrepreneurship. I was part of the founding team of the first science festival when I was in high school, the first science festival in Dubai. And the goal very much there was to increase the scientific literacy of the general public.
Thank
And
you,
as you can imagine, those
Jocelyn.
entrepreneurial experiences, I studied neuroscience for undergrad. While I was doing that, I continued to work with multiple mission-driven startups, do some
Airport
work as
ng
a technology
Legazpi.
journalist, and I increasingly found that
Ang
there was a
ang
huge
lapad
gap
ng
between
noo.
what I needed to know in the workforce versus feeling that the structures preparing me for this emerging workforce. Yeah, there was this huge gap that you talk about, right? You said there was a hit on your grades, but yet you were accumulating all this wealth of experience and insights, and it didn't seem to count. So why do you think there is this strong need to reform traditional education systems, Brian? So, a recent study by Yale shows that 75% of students in the United States, and they surveyed tens of thousands of students, hate school and report negative feelings towards school. At the same time, another study by H&R Block shows that uh, graduates from high school only end up using about 34% of the things they learned in high school. So way over most of the information we gain in high school actually turns out to be completely useless and practical towards our everyday lives, which is a very inefficient the issue we're learning in terms of the curriculum and what we focus on. There are issues in how we're learning it in terms of the passive, disengaging learning models that we have. There are issues with where learning happens in terms of forcing it into the boundaries of schools and giving the learning to happen within schools more importance. And there are issues with why we're learning. If you think about what incentivizes most learning today, it's not a desire to better oneself or better the world, but rather it's a desire to get better grades, which, as we've already discussed, can be arbitrary measures of success without any real objective value. So focusing too much on grades can be very inefficient, like you said, and also very arbitrary. So tell us about the innovation behind future focus and wisdom-based education, because as a parent myself, I'm also very interested in this topic. Absolutely. So if you look at the purpose of traditional education, it really, the current formal structures that we have in place emerge out of the industrial era. And the current education system emerged out of the industrial era with the purpose of creating factory-style workers that could stick within tasks, that could do work in the industries that emerged in that time. But if you rethink the purpose of education and say the purpose of education is to prepare young minds for these future emerging industry and give it a more future-focused approach. And if you add a layer of preparing young minds and equipping them with what some futurists like Thomas Lombardo are calling wisdom and wisdom-based education, you really have to shift what you learn and how.
Naharang ako
So,
sa sarili ko.
youth wisdoms, expanded sense of time, having compassion, having an intelligently optimistic view on life, having emotional intelligence. And what is powerful about taking this future-focused and wisdom-based education outlook is that you start to develop an education system that can contribute to human progress. Because if you think about most of the local and global challenges we see today, whether it be climate change or the refugee crisis or even our response to a pandemic, you can trace all of those challenges, the specific issues in the human mind and the human approach to things, whether it be an egocentric mindset, whether education to contribute to humanity's progress. How are you incorporating that into your very own School of Humanity? Tell us about the ethos there. And I know you have this thing called mastery transcript. How is that also a more equitable approach to the traditional report card, which I used to dread getting? Absolutely. So, with my last company, a lot of the work that we did was extracurricular. We worked with government entities, we worked with the largest providers of private school globally, and the goal there was to really fill in the gaps in the traditional curriculum that we felt like we're missing and that students need to be equipped with. But what I really started to see, or my team and I started to see, is that there were these progressive schools around the world that had already reinvented education. And so these progressive pedagogies were emerging all around the world. They were happening in small communities, but they were proven in the terms that they were often researched and studied, but also students had graduated from those high school, those kinds of pedagogies and gone up to university and had successes. But what we saw is these kinds of progressive schools were only accessible in these kinds of challenge-based learning, interdisciplinary learning, or project-based learning, and we transitioned it into an online-first model. So what we did is we created an incredible curriculum that's a competency-based curriculum. It's a set of competencies, mindsets, and behaviors that we want all of our graduates to have. These are informed by the needs of human progress, but they're also informed by the evolving landscape of work and the skills that are most in demand in the current workforce, learning paths. And on the mastery transcript, so there's an incredible consortium called the Mastery Transcript Consortium that has emerged. And what they're doing is they've created a new form of a report card, let's say. And on the mastery transcript, instead of reducing students down to single letter, the transferable skills that a learner has been met for those skills, and that is then tagged to a portfolio of projects that evidence those skills. So it allows for a less reductionist and more holistic overview of what a young mind is capable of. It's usually a more accurate overview.
Gosh, I'm just taking a moment to digest all that you're saying. It sounds so revolutionary, radical almost, but it's great that there, with the mastery transcript, for example, you're not just reducing a young mind to a letter, just to a grade, but focusing more on competency learning, and that is something that I would totally champion for as well. What other barriers are you hoping to over humanity? I read too that half of your enrollees are also female.
Absolutely. So one of the frustrations that we had with the edtech space, you rightfully pointed out that especially during COVID, investment into edtech and adoption of edtech has increased dramatically.
That's right.
However, a lot of that funding goes towards the tech of edtech and not the ed of edtech. So while we're seeing a mass digitization of curriculum and pedagogy, we're not necessarily reimagining the learning experience and the education of pedagogy itself. So that's part of the barrier we're overcoming, is not just digitizing things, but actually reimagining the model itself, which is actually a huge challenge because, as you can imagine, investors in this space don't usually see companies that are not necessarily a proprietary tech play, but rather a proprietary education model play. At the same time, one of the things from the get-go is make sure that we are inclusive of the developing world and the emerging economy. And there's a variety of ways that we do this. So we work with sponsors as well to be able to sponsor learners who wouldn't otherwise be able to afford our programs. We also follow a sliding scale tuition model so that
Dai
families
host
can
adjust
pay
students.
whatever
Oh
works best
yeah.
with their income bracket. And as
Thank
you
you, Dai
pointed out, the
Kanyo.
majority
Thank
of our
you.
learners are actually girls, which we
Thank
find
you very
really,
much.
really
Ingat
exciting.
Dai Kanyo
We think
dyan.
it's a huge opportunity to close the skills gap and the gender gap in emerging economies. And what we see often with
Haba naman ang
edtech is
harap ko, hindi pa
developing
tapos.
countries are usually the last to access cutting edge models. But in our case, we wanted to make sure that we have learners from those economies and countries in our very founding cohort from the very beginning.
How do you think the future of work now is impacting the future of
Mag-ngat-ngat tayo,
education? And
guys.
are we actually doing
Ano
enough
ito? Yam.
to
Yam.
adequately prepare our youth for a future of exponential change, right?
Absolutely. So we are seeing a number of different trends that are influencing the future of work. So as we know, the pandemic dramatically accelerated what was already a rise of the remote workforce. And the rise of the remote workforce is completely changing a couple of things. The types of skills that are most in demand is changing, right? Things like project management, time management, even collaboration and leadership vary when you shift into a remote workforce. It changes the kinds of things employers are looking for. It also globalizes the workforce in the sense that when you apply for a job, you're no longer just competing against local talent, you're competing against global talent. So that shifts the global landscape as well. As you rightfully pointed out, the rise of exponential technologies like virtual reality, artificial intelligence, blockchain is giving host to new types of roles, new types of jobs, new types of industries very quickly. We're also seeing the rise of the creative and imagination economy, where creativity and imagination become the primary creators of value in society. This is driven by the fact that technological automation is taking over more monotonous and routine tasks, whereas more higher ordered creative tasks are left to be done
more by humans. And so all of this is such a sharp contrast to the emphasis that we put in the traditional education system, where it's focused on isolated subjects, where it's focused on the kinds of tests that test whether there's a correct or wrong answer rather than creative thinking, where we still put an emphasis on in-person teaching rather than blended or online, given that we're students will be going into an online driven workforce. So we are not, for the most part, doing a good job in preparing young minds for this evolving landscape of work. And that's part of what we're trying to change at School of Humanity.
So what other alternative education models do you envision that would help us build back better? Because you're definitely onto something with the School of Humanity.
I would love to spend some time here talking about the case studies
Million
from
in
around
the
the world, because I
house.
don't believe there needs to be one model that fits all. So the things we always tell our prospective students is School of
Mag-duck nga tayo,
Humanities is
guys.
just one
Ayan,
potential
sarap nga
alternative
natin.
model in a sea of other alternative models. So for example, in Boston, you have the New View School. They've been around for quite a while now, and they follow something called the architectural studio model, and their classrooms are just maker labs. And what they do, the students do, they follow these 2-week sprints that are interdisciplinary sprints where they just learn by solving a challenge. The challenge can be redesigning the public transportation system in Boston, or it can be something else. And they basically graduate similarly with a skill transcript and a portfolio transcript. And by the way, they've had students get into MIT, Harvard, and beyond. Similarly, in the Aurora School, yeah, it's pretty cool, right? It just shows you it's not that much of a risk to go into a school like this. You also have the Aurora School in the Netherlands, and they are a really cool school. They're an in-person school that has no classrooms. It's completely open spaces and open learning environments. You're more likely to sit in a circle than you are to sit in like a lecture-like setting. And they call their teachers coaches because they're there to coach and facilitate the personalized learning path. Every student has their own curriculum, which is really exciting. So for me, those are just some examples of the types of models that exist. There are commonalities between them, but there's also things that make them different. And I truly believe that in the next decade, these alternative models will no longer be alternative. They will become mainstream.
Yeah, that sounds so exciting. I want to circle back to what you study, neuroscience. That's really interesting. How do you think neuroeducation can impact teaching and learning?
So we're seeing the rise of a field, an interdisciplinary field, let's say, called neuroeducation, which is neuroscientists bringing in the latest insights of the brain, about the brain, and collaborating with educationists to design models of learning that are informed of what we know about the brain. It's also representing the shift of treating education not like an art, but as a science, and actually using the scientific method to research what are the pedagogies that work best in the classroom and systemically try to understand how do people learn best. Now, some of the key insights that we found that are really notable, one of my favorites is that, they're teaching young minds about the brain and about the fact that the brain is malleable and neuroplastic, which means that you can constantly improve and make new connections in your brain, can actually improve learning. So they did a study where a group of 7th graders were told, the brain is a neuroplastic, malleable thing that can constantly improve all throughout your life. And another group that were told that, the brain is static, that you can't actually change things. And the group
You're
that
left
knew,
with right brain and that's it, right?
Exactly. And the group that actually believed, rightfully so, in neuroplasticity did better in their test results and they learned better. So that mindset shift is fascinating, I think. We also have a lot of insights coming in from studies about the role of emotion on learning. We know that negative emotions like fear or stress can have a detrimental effect on the learning experience, whereas positive emotions such as awe can have a positive experience. So that shifts the way we structure our entire education system, really, and the well-being component. We also have plenty of research to show that experiential and problem-based learning and project-based learning are far more effective than lecture-based learning. So all of these new progressive pedagogies aren't just kind of hippie progressive pedagogies, they're supported by the latest research in neuroscience.
That is really so fascinating. I'm hoping the parents who are tuning in are also seeing all these having these little light bulbs go off in your head. On a personal note now, I want to ask you too, Ryan, you serve on the board of many edtech companies.
Have you ever felt that your youth and your gender, did it ever stand in the way of you getting your ideas across? What kind of challenges did you face as a young female entrepreneur in this field?
I think I've been very fortunate to have always had excellent mentors, advocates, and champions. And that's part of why we want to replicate that with the young women that we have at School of Humanity. But of course, there are the challenges. You, of course, will end up in situations where you're the only woman in the group, and at the same time, you're the youngest person in the room. And that tends to happen even now quite often. And I think some of the challenges I faced as well were internal challenges. We know for a fact that women are more likely to feel imposter syndrome, the feeling that I don't deserve to be here, I'm not good enough for this, right? And it's a very commonly felt emotion. And the way I think I've learned to tackle this, and I constantly try to encourage other young women at our school and beyond to tackle this, is really to surround yourself with the right mentors, the right advocates, and the right kind of supportive community. I also believe that thought leadership in the form of writing articles or doing things like this can really help establish a strong brand that can make up for not being taken seriously as a young woman. So I think those are just some strategies that have really helped me, that we try to embed into our education system actually to help other young people as they advance in their
Haba ng
careers.
harang.
Yeah, that's really sound advice indeed. I know you, at School of Humanity, some of your subject matter experts might be referred to as mentors. You're big on mentorship, aren't you, for in terms of giving access for equal opportunities for both genders?
Absolutely. So we actually don't have teachers. We have, at School of Humanity, we have learning facilitators, and they're called
Ayan
so
siya
because they
dyan.
facilitate a personalized learning experience for the students and a very interactive one.
News
And then
ng
on the other hand, we
Lebanon.
have what we call industry mentors.
Thank you
So
sa
these are
pag-Gigi.
mentors
Ang
that are
haba ng
subject matter
harang, oh.
specialists.
Hindi
So
pa
for
tapos.
example, if you are on the designing space settlement path, learning path, your mentor might be an actual astronaut in training, which is the case at the school. Or if you're on the future of money path, your mentor might be someone who's an expert in cryptocurrencies. And these mentorship sessions are
Hi,
really open-ended.
Shalmit.
It's an opportunity for a learner to get feedback on their work, but it also becomes personalized to what your goals are. And what is really powerful, I believe, about mentorship, especially when it comes to closing any kind of wealth gaps or income gaps or even gender gaps, is there's no denying
Tamsak
that the
na po,
network you have
host. Kilo
access
po,
to
sabi
gives you a
ni.
huge leg up in life. And students can come from wealthier backgrounds, more privileged backgrounds, naturally have access to
Bigyan
more
kita
a
ng
wider
jacket.
network, either through their
Ba't
parents
nawawala? Di ba
or
dito ka
through
na
the schools
dati?
that they go to. Whereas what we're trying to also do
Kahapon
is
nga.
give young learners in low-income backgrounds or developing regions access to
Thank you,
incredible industry
Shamit.
mentors who are leading the fields that they're in, and allow them to have that one-on-one time, not just to get knowledge and wisdom and feedback, but to continue that relationship that can one day maybe help them in life. It's someone else that they can go to when they're sending out their resumes for job applications. So I
Nagngangat-ngat lang
truly
ako,
believe
guys, ng
mentorship and the personal connections and guidance can truly help close lots of different gaps in society.
Welcome po, host. Sabi ni Shamit.
Mentorship as well. That is really,
Yeah.
really valuable. Raya, you're
Na-
often described as a techno
Baba ko po
optimist.
yung
So
video.
are you
Okay, baba
excited
yung
about what
video
the
mo.
future holds for young girls in tech?
I
Nagngat-ngat ako
really
ng
am. I
yam.
really am. I think, funnily enough, I don't want to describe it as a problem, but one of the questions we ask ourselves is, how can we bring in more boys to have a balanced cohort? Because we have so many amazing girls applying from all around the world. And it makes me really excited for the future of young girls in tech and women in tech, because I think more often than not, women are more effective collaborators and leaders, more intuitively, more empathetic. And that combined with technological skills, I think can make incredible, well-rounded leaders in technology. So for me, I'm really excited, and we're also seeing a lot of improvements in terms of data and closing gaps around girls. And we're also seeing a lot.
Sometimes it really is also about getting
The man's page to sock.
to fight for better gender parity.
Okay.
So Raya, what
Bigyan kita ng jacket, the man's page.
for our film industry? Because I feel like you shared really wonderful insights
Okay, may jacket na po kayo.
and also yourself as a role model for
Excuse me.
The key message I believe with our female viewers is to really surround yourself with the right champions, advocates, and allies. So if you're ever
Yan po,
feeling
new video
discriminated
ko host.
against,
Okay.
feel like you constantly have to prove yourself, then you're in the wrong environment. Because I guarantee there are environments out there that will nurture you, respect you, and continue to support you. So that's really the key message I would like to leave for young women, and also to encourage all women to participate in thought leadership and to also build personal
The
brands.
man's
That can go a
page.
long way in establishing yourself as a
Palike host music live non-CPR. Okay, the man's page.
choose the right environments and find some like cheerleaders, advocates, and allies. That's what it's all about. And so
Okay, ha? Sabi mo siyang meets uh, new video. Tamsak na kaya ako. Baka may bago ibig sabihin ng tusok ay yung likes. Yan. Pag ayan mama, nagbaba ng bahay, Jocelyn. Dikitan mo sila para madikitan ka rin nila. No siyang mates, si yung anak ko, pa ano ko sa iyo, pa dikit. Dali lang, nakaharang lang. Nasa harang pa. Jocelyn, nasaan ka na?
kami ng tungtungan, wala kami ilay. Ay, bibigyan kami. Ito sa kamay mama.
3 million in the house. Siyang mates, nandito na ako sa bahay mo. Ayan o. Oh. Dali ah. Kunin ko lang yung pinagkainan ng alaga ko.
Ang dami dito.
Wow, sarap mais.
So, bumili rin ako ng pechay, tapos kamatis, ay sibuyas na rin isa yung malaking sibuyas. Tapos bumili din ako ng dulo, may isang kilo na, yan dulo. Yan. Yung maliliit na isda. Masarap po yan, doka. Sa kilong ganyan. Tapos bumili din ako ng rock salt, kasi dito may asin naman yung manipis. Manipis na. Iodine salt na naman. Iodine salt naman nandoon. Alam.
Hmm.
Tapos bumili din ako ng seaweed. Paborito ko yung seaweed. Nakikita niyo din. Siya. Paborito ko. Saan?
Patulok po, guys, sa new video namin kahit what's a thumbs up. Thank you, host.
Ako ng dalawang isda na tuna. Nasabawan ko ito mamaya.
Walang ano man.
Iwan ko na lang dito para bago na lang iwain ko muna itong seaweeds. Ganito kalaki. Ganito lang.
Ano yung seaweeds? Oh, sarap niyan.
Pag ano na kami, magahanda na kami para ipang torta. Lagyan namin ng asin.
Ano, itito torta?
Ng sili, sibuyas at bawang. Kasi yung iba dito palagi nilagay ko dito sa salad.
Favorite ko kaya yan.
Asin lang.
Lato. Sarap yan. Pinaglilihian ko po yan nung nabuntis po ako. Oo, sarap kaya. Siyang mates, the second. Oo, sarap. Gustong gusto ko kaya yan. Okay. Ayan, done na siyang mates. Ngayon, ako naman ang magtatamsa. Teka, sandali. Kinilaw na guso. Marami kaya yan dun sa amin sa summer. Yung guso. Siyang mates, the second full pack na. Si Juvenile 2 full pack na. Sarap niyan. Tagal na hindi ako nakatikim ng guso. Kasi na sa dagat. Thank you, Siyang mates. The second sa Pabiji. Thank you guys. Ako naman ginangat-ngat ko yung ano, yung yam chips. Ang sarap. Ngayon Chinese New Year, madaming ano, 5 million in the house. May pumasok na naman na ano, oh, hindi ko alam kung sino yan. Yumim, Agnisi. Thank you, Siyang mates. Sa Pabiji. Thank you, guys. Thank you very much. Sa Pabiji-biji. May bank. Hello, Sisi Juvenile. Mega love shout out. Jason. Si Baby Boo Summer ito, Lipad Agila. Sino to? Si Lipad Agila. Ay, si ano? Jason. Lipad Agila. Si ano? Si... May jacket na po kay Jason. Ano to? Lipad Agila. Si... alam ko na. Si Ate Marilu. Di ba? Kapatid ko si Nay Sini at kaibigan ko si Cordapia. O nga. Si ano yata, si Sisi Cordapia, hindi, tagal na hinihintay ko, hindi siya nag-live. You're welcome, Jason. Thank you po. Thank you sa pagdalaw sa aking kubo. Thank you very much. Baka may may bahay ka dyan, baba mo yung mo, baka may premiere ka, baba mo. Di siya nagla-live si Cordapia. Oo nga, inihintay ko nga siya, lagi ko siya dinadalaw-dalaw yung niya, yung bahay niya. Kaso hindi siya pero may premiere siya sa sa January 1st. Nakasit na yung premiere niya. Baka may po kayo, may premiere, baba mo para matamsakan ko. Patamsakan natin sa kanila. Naka-direct YouTube ka o stream? Direct YouTube. Kasi cellphone lang gamit ko. Di siya. Naka-direct YouTube ka o stream? Direct. Direct ako. Kasi wala akong cellphone lang gamit ko. Wala akong laptop. Kaya yung laptop ko kasi pinadala ko sa Pinas, kailangan ng anak ko. Ako cell na lang. Oo, cellphone din lang. Importante kasi yung anak ko, pinadala ko yung cellphone ko kasi nung may umuwi sa amin. Ayun, pinabitbit ko. Pagkakataon na yun kaysa ihulog ko, ang mahal-mahal. Kaya pinadala ko na lang. Kagabi nag-direct ako magdamag. Oh. Kagabi hindi ako naka-direkta kasi alam mo bakit? Kahapon, ganitong oras nag-live ako hanggang alas 6 yata yun. Or alas 7. Iniwan ko lang dito nung mga alas 6 na 6:30 ganun. Tapos yung biro ba naman nakalagay ba naman na na limit? Ang limit ba yun? Naka-orange yung yung dollar sign. Ay, orange ba? Yellow. Kaya sabi ko, bakit ganito? Kaya inayos ko muna. Kaya hindi ako nakapag-live kagabi. Hanggang sa ako inantok. Mabuti naman, naayos ko kaagad. Nag-request ako. Kaya grabe. Tapos ngayon naman, yung ko naman, sabi ko, bakit kaya kagagaling ko lang kay Ate Nida. Oh. Kaya sabi ko, bakit kaya sabi ko ano ito, tawag nun na nakasit na naman, set reminder na naman, samantalang ako, hindi naman ako nag-schedule. Sabi ko, ano ba yan? Yung live ko, nakaset. Hindi naman ako nag-schedule kung kailan. Ang ano niya, sa ano pa, sa January yata yun, sabi ko. Kaya yun. Pag direct ba, hindi, walang limit ba, yung pag yung pag live? Kasi nakatatlong oras na kaya ako. Hindi ko kasi alam, baka mamaya pagalitan tayo ni Lolo. Hindi ko alam kasi okay lang sana kung hindi pa muni kaso lang namuni na ako. Hindi ko alam. Ay nako. Hindi ko alam na kasi yung iba sis 3 3 4 3 4 5 6 3 hours din si Cordapia 3 hours din yung niya, yung live niya. Yun, nag-start ako for 1:30 2 2 3 4. Ayan, over na ako, nakasobra na baka pwede na yan 3 hours ka na. Yung nga baka mamaya mapalo tayo. Yung channel natin maparusahan. O sige na mga sisi ko, ako'y muna magpapaalam, baka mamaya hindi natin alam saka na tayo mag-over. Hindi pa natin alam, baka mamaya tayo mapalo. Ay nako, nakatakot. Nakailang pang-apat ko palang live ito simula ako hindi ako nakakapunta kay Ate DC. Si Ate DC hindi naman nag-pop up dito sa ko, yung live niya. Ako'y magpapaalam muna. Ako'y mag-shoutout muna. Okay, ako'y magpapasalamat muna sa mga nagpunta sa akin. Ayan, si Ate G Mix Vlogs. Thank you po sa pagpunta nyo sa akin. First honor si Ate G kanina. Siya ang first honor. Tapos si si Annalyn Galendez. Ayan. Si Da Freji Official. Baby Bo Summer, thank you po sa lahat mga palangga. James GPGP, thank you for coming. And then si Dai Cagno, thank you. Ayan. Tsaka sino pa ba? And si Muse ng Lebanon, ayan. Muse ng Lebanon, thank you very much. Nandiyan ka lagi sa aking live. Thank you. Si Elvis Vlog TV, thank you very much. Ayan si Elvis tsaka si Ate G, si Muse ng Lebanon, nandiyan siya, nag-i-steady pa rin siya. Oh, si si Nisi, hello, I'm watching. Hindi ko napansin. Sorry Nisi. Nandyan ka pala. Si Jocelyn Gostor, nandyan. Thank you very much. Juvenile to channel. Thank you. Ayan. Si Tabuan Explorer. Thank you very much. Annalyn Galindez. Thank you po. Mm. Ako po ay magpapaalam na. Thank you po sa inyong lahat. Sana hindi po kayo magsawa sa akin. Pag makahanap na po ako ng tamang oras, mag-ano na ako kung saan ako mag-ano. Siyang Mates the second, thank you very much. Thank you. And the man's page, thank you rin. Maraming salamat po sa pagpunta nyo sa akin. Sana hindi po kayo magsawa. Pag nakahanap ako ng tamang oras na okay sa akin. Justin Kaimar, thank you very much sa pagdalo mo sa akin. Thank you very much. Bye sisi ko Juvenile. Thank you. Pag nakahanap ako ng tamang oras na tama rin sa akin na hindi ako naistorbo, ako na permanent oras na ang live ko. Ngayon, paru-paro pa muna tayo kung kahit anong oras kung saan tayo makakasingit na oras, yun, pasukan natin. Ganyan pa lang ngayon. Pero pag halimbawa may permanente na tayong oras niyan. Tapos umaga, kasi balak ko umaga tsaka gabi. Hindi umaga, basta araw, hindi ko lang alam kung anong oras. Araw, tsaka gabi. Yun ang target ko mag silent LS ako mga 9 PM. Kasi hindi pa ako pwede mag silent LS kasi yung tablet ko, itong gamit ko ngayon, yung tablet ko pag halimbawa minsan sumpungin, iiwan ko yan halimbawa, kailangan kasi may naka-steady nakabantay. Minsan kasi nawawala siya, tapos pag ibalik mo, sasabihin may nakalagay doon resume. Kaya yun, pag halimbawa magdamag, siyempre nakatulog ka na, magdamag yan, naka-open, walang hindi napindot resume, hanggang matuluyan na nawala yung LS. Kaya ang hirap. Pero kung halimbawa may laptop na ako, magdamag yun. Kasi nung buting akamo, napadami-dami na nung ko noon yung watch hour ko nung ako may laptop pa. Kaya grabe, yung alam mo 3 cellphone ang nanonood. Ang mga naistorbo ko, 2 cellphone ang alaga ko. Yun, pinaplik ko yun. O siya guys, thank you very much. Thank you. Sana hindi po kayo magsawa sa akin sa kadalaw-dalaw. Sana hindi po kayo tamarin. Okay? Thank you po very much. Thank you po very, very much. Love you all. Okay, bye.